chaos and disruption. I remember when I first heard those words, it was like, ooh, it's like you can, when you feel or hear certain words, certain tones, certain vibrational frequencies that match to the essence of who you are, it's like, ooh, it's like when you're listening to a song, when you're listening to the tone in someone's voice, when you're listening to a piece of music, when someone is speaking to you in such a way that every piece is just landing, and you can feel the coding of what it is being shown to you, and you in full receival of it. It can be hard to explain in words, but music is probably the easiest place, because it's like, you know, when there's certain songs, when there's a certain note in a song, when there's a certain tone that someone sings, and it's like, and you feel like you just want to melt her. It's like, oh my God, that feels so good. That's the feeling I get when I hear certain people speaking or saying things or using specific words or talking about theories or myths or ideas. It's like, ooh, that feels good. And that's because we have that energetic match to it. That's because where I am right now, my vibration of myself as just this vibrational frequency made up of energy, where I am sitting at right now in the way that I am vibrating is going to match to different things. And this consistently changes, of course, based on a whole plethora of things, whether it's the outside, the inside, whatever is happening, this will fluctuate. As we go along our spiritual or healing journey, we are constantly trying to raise that vibration, because we know that the more, the higher, the deeper, the more resonant our vibrational frequency is, the easier it is going to be to match to those things that we desire. And this is like the basic concept of manifestation 101, is being able to match those things that you want. In order to do that, though, we are consistently trying to increase that energetic vibrational frequency of who we are, so that we can get closer to those desires and those things that we really want in our lives. But I just wanted to talk about the words chaos and disruption, because to me, chaos just feels like home. Whereas if you had have said that word to me a few years ago, I would have thought, chaos. To me, that is a messy house, or things not in order, or things not working out the way that it's supposed to, and just complete, utter, illogical things in all the wrong places, not working in a consistent or logical order, and making no sense to my logical brain. That's how I would have seen chaos. But now, as I've sort of increased my vibrational frequency and released a lot of the beliefs and stories that I was holding on to me, chaos feels more like home. And it's not, oh, let's have mess everywhere and let's have everything unorganized. To me now, chaos is the way where everything exists in whatever way it needs to. So instead of me having that logical step of saying, I'm here at point A, I'm going to move over to point B. Look at me following this step, la 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 la, along the path until I get to whatever it is I'm trying to get to. Instead, now I understand, and only through my own experience, is that because I see things in these spirals and the way that we jump on and jump off, and sometimes we're there for a while, sometimes we're there for a bit, sometimes we have people or situations or things that move us from that spot where we are in that spiral, and it's flicking us around and perhaps onto another one, and then over to another one, and then to something else. So we're constantly moving and changing. And this realization has come as I am more and more in tune with my own abilities and the things that I see, because I can see the universal existence as these energetic threads and as these wisps of circles and strands and lines of color and essence, I now understand that I can no longer exist from being in point A and going to point B, because that's not how I see our universe. Because this is how I see our existence. This is how I see it in my mind. This is the acceptance I now have of who we are and what we are on a bigger and a grander scale. And if you go into sort of go down the science realm and look at, okay, well, what's chaos theory? And chaos theory is the whole idea that even in something that is perceived as chaotic, there is still logic and order in it. Because where I am talking about flipping around those spirals and jumping from these ideas or these thoughts or these moments or these next steps, it's still logic. It's still logical because I'm moving towards something. It's not straight line. We're not linear people. We're 3D people moving on to 5D, if that's how you want to look at it. We're not 2D people. We're not going from point A to point B. We're not following these straight lines. It has to be in this sense that makes sense for us. And under that concept, to me, it's, well, you can't get it wrong. Yes, we're still going from point A to point B, but we're not going in a straight line. We're going to go in this pattern, and the way that we go into this pattern is going to depend on our choices that we make. It's going to depend on how we're feeling in the moment. It's going to depend on, am I going to do this or am I going to do this? Am I going to follow this thought or am I going to follow this nudge? Am I using my intuition or am I using my logic? And we're still going to get there. It may be taking us 5 minutes or 5 years, but we're still going to get there. We're still on that journey from here to there. We're just doing it in whatever way we do it. So it still is a chaotic vision in a sense, but there's still logic to it. So now that I hold on to that chaotic frequency, for me, having this whole disruptor or disruption word, as well as something that aligns with me like chaos, it's along the same lines, which is the understanding that instead of following those logical steps, but disrupting the system in a way that is outside of the norm or the way that we should be doing it. I used to think way back in the beginning, oh, you're just trying to be different to everyone else. You just want to oppose what everyone else is saying and try and do the opposite. Well, 100 people are telling me to do it that way, so I'm going to do it my way. And it's only through my own deeper understanding of myself and removing those beliefs that weren't mine that I went, no, this is the way that I operate. This is what feels good for me, not just in my thoughts, but in my body, in my being, in the energetic vibration of who I am. This feels more comfortable. I prefer to do things now that make no sense or don't follow the logic of others or don't succumb to what everyone else is doing, and not because I'm trying to be different or trying to be so radical and out there and cause a disturbance. It's more of, this is what kind of feels good for me. I can't and it's funny, even as someone who is so logical, and my logical brain does trip me up a lot of the times in my journey, because I do like to be totally organized, totally neat, have everything in order, all these beautiful steps in place. But now I also can balance that with the disruption of doing things my way. So even if I did have a process and said, okay, I want to do this, and this is the way that I think it will look like, but how am I going to do that? And I will do it in my way. Even though there may be another way, there may be a better way, there may be a quicker way, but I'm going to do it my way. And that's what, to me, is the whole disruptive frequency, is really getting in tune with who you are, what works for you, what feels good for you, what makes sense to you, and working with that. because I know I've done many things that people have told me along the way, because I was learning, and I get it. I had to go through that process that didn't feel right, that I would do things where, but they said that's the way I should do it, but I really don't like it. But I did it because I had perceived that these people were in a higher state than me, although I don't see people in high states anymore. It's more of, yes, they have more knowledge. But at the time it was, well, these people have the results. These people must know what they're doing because they have the things that I want. So I need to learn how they are doing those things so I can get those things too. So for me, going through that process, and let's be real, it's literally trying things out. It's the only way you're going to know if you like something or not. You could look at something and go, oh, no, I'm not doing that. And depending on where you are with your level of understanding yourself and your beliefs and your shadows, you really won't know if that's not for you until you try it. And you may try something right now and go, yeah, that's not for me. Yet down the track, you'll be back on it and go, oh yeah, I love this. Or vice versa. You'll be doing something right now that you love and think, yes, this is me. Down the track, yeah, I don't want to do that anymore. It is this consistent jumping from spiral to spiral, following our own logic, but through our intuition, and allowing the disruption of our own codes through this chaotic existence to allow us to illuminate the frequency of what we are trying to attract, of what we really want to manifest, of the things that we are desiring and that we want to create in our life. That's what I have found is really working for me. And I'm not saying I have it all sorted out, that is for sure, because there's still a level of confusion that does happen as we sort of move and grow and keep learning and keep expanding and keep bringing on new tools, new ideas, new knowings, new understandings. But along that journey, we become more and more in tune with the things that work for us. And it is not going to look like anyone else. It's not going to look like the majority of the people out there, because we're all unique. We are all going to have our own perfect way that we move through these things and towards the things that we want. It's going to be perfectly right. It's going to be exactly as it needs to be. And it's going to consistently change. The universe doesn't sit still and go, here I am. Here's all my energy. And everybody move. Everybody stay still. Freeze. No, that's not how we exist. So if even our whole existence on this such a broader scale is constantly moving, then don't we have to as well to exist? We cannot sit still in the same every day, not moving, not learning, not growing, not allowing new thoughts in, not doing anything. It's just not going to get you anywhere. And I even find that even within the space of one day, I can go from a level of where I thought I was solid in my thoughts or ideas to a totally new perception or idea or way that I have changed my viewpoint or been able to look at it with a slightly different lens. And that's because we're consistently growing. Even this body is consistently changing. It's not staying still and going, okay, everybody freeze, let's do nothing. So we have to work with that energy. Work with the energy that feels good for you, that feels right for you, that is working for you right now. And the only way you're going to know exactly what that is to try different things, be open to new things, and know that it's okay if that changes, and know that as you are progressing, as you are growing, as you are increasing your vibration, your own frequency, there's going to be new things coming in. There's going to be a sharpness to things. There's going to be a deeper level of knowing and understanding, and really locking into those key pieces, those key movements that keep aligning you and bringing you closer and closer to those desires that you want. The term of disruption, even in a science field, is based on the idea that one small change can have such mammoth changes. It's like the old butterfly effect. So if you can think about how you are always progressing and how you are always growing and how you are always learning and moving towards new things, every time you keep fine-tuning those things that you were working on, those nudges that you were feeling, those next steps, every time you were doing that, there's going to be an even greater effect on the outcome you're trying to achieve. So if you really connect with the word chaos and disruption, I get it. So good luck. Go continue the disruption and enjoy your existence in this beautiful, chaotic, universal world.